Hello everyone, friends, and Iron Speakerman is in touch. In this video, I will tell you absolutely all the facts about the Skibidi Mutants, from their background and chronology of appearance in the series to their design, equipment, and weapons. So I strongly recommend that you watch this video to the end. Well, if you want to see more video analyses of the characters, then put likes, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Well, I don't dare to detain you any longer. Let's begin. How did the first Skibidi Mutants appear? The first member of this class of Skibidi toilets appeared immediately after the infection of the Titan by Speakerman in episode 33. This character does not have an official name, but I will call him the parasitic Skibidi Mutant. In a few minutes you will understand why I gave him this name. It is slightly taller than the big Speakermen. Of the features, I can highlight that this Skibidi Mutant belongs to the order of urinal shape because the urinal was taken as the basis of the body. It has fairly small legs, which does not prevent it from moving quite quickly. And the most interesting thing is that the hands of this Skibidi were based on mechanized wires, which in the future would be used for Skibidi Scout from episode 44. At that time, there were no reviewers of this series yet, which makes it difficult to figure out the most common theory around the parasitic mutant. But among the Telegram communities, the most common theory was that when infected with agents, the Skibidi scientist actively studied the structure of the chambers and recreated the first hybrid based on the knowledge gained. This version is quite interesting because the Skibidi toilet appeared only after the invention of the Skibidi parasites and the first cases of infection by agents. But still, the design of this Skibidi toilet differs too much from the structure of a large agent. If we look at the 70th episode, we can see a partial structure of the cameramen, and here it is clearly seen that they have fully mechanized arms and not wire-like ones like the parasitic mutant. Most likely before inventing the parasites, the Skibidi toilets did not have the full blueprints of the Alliance, so they tried to artificially recreate a human-like Skibidi toilet with legs and arms. By the way, the parasitic mutant did not live long, and after 5 episodes, that is, in the 37th episode, he was eliminated by 2 big speaker men's. I want to draw special attention to how exactly it was liquidated. He was stunned by a shot from an anti-parasitic armored personnel carrier. That is, he succumbs to anti-parasitic radiation, which leads me to think about some kind of relationship between the parasitic mutant and the Skibidi parasite. In proof of this theory, I want to state that parasites also belong to the group of urinal core Skibidi toilets. And since Skibidi parasites tend to grow more than large, I already have an idea of the history of the parasitic mutant. Initially, it was an ordinary parasite that had the goal of infecting the Titan Speakerman in episode 32. For those who forgot, a total of 2 Skibidi parasites were sent to the Speakerman Titan, one of which Titan Speakerman managed to unhook, but not destroy, just letting him out of his hands. This Skibid was not killed, and he was too large to infect ordinary agents, from which I came up with a crazy theory that the scientist decided to recreate a sample of the first Skibidi mutant from this parasite. The legs and body were based on the surviving parts of the destroyed big speakers from episode 32, and the arms were based on mechanized wire technology. But the parasitic mutant has 2 main weaknesses: the inability to resist anti-parasitic radiation and a poorly protected limb control mechanism. After the elimination of the first representative of the Skibidi mutants, the Skibidi toilets with such a special body structure, we saw as much as 29 episodes later, in the 62nd episode of Skibidi Toilet. Then we were shown 2 new representatives of this order at once: the Rambo Skibidi mutant and the Skibidi mutant with a saw. These representatives of the mutant order were quite different from their ancestor. The mutant Rambo did not have his own name at the time of the release of the 62nd episode, and got it only in the 73rd episode. He did not have any arsenal with him, but from the equipment he was endowed with headphones and a jetpack, which at that time not every Skibidi toilet could boast of. He also has a fairly strong physique, because in the 62nd episode, he was able to tear a large cameraman in half without much effort. Let me remind you that all representatives of the Alliance have a fully robotic structure, and in fact, Skibidi Rambo, the mutant, picked up and tore a 100-kilogram piece of metal. But this is nothing compared to the fact that in the 63rd episode, he was able to easily pick up and throw out the armored athlete with at least 5 representatives of the Chamber faction, which would already weigh about 13.5 tons. I also want to draw my attention to the gabarites of the Rambo mutant. He is huge, and he is as tall as the big speaker men. Skibidi Rambo, like the mutant parasite, belongs to the order of urinal enclosure toilets, but having a black toilet bowl and the basis of the hands, not the technology of mechanized wires was taken, but full-fledged mechanized arms. Unfortunately or fortunately, the Alliance managed to temporarily eliminate him in the next episode, that is, in episode 63. First, due to the pain shock of a series of ramming glitch Punger Man, he fell unconscious, and after trying to get up and attack our squad of agents, a wounded big speaker approached him and stabbed him in the head. It is not yet clear exactly how he survived, but he returned in episode 73, and it improved a little. Shoulder retractable laser guns were added to him. He completely got rid of his shirt. Behind his forearms you can see some spikes, very reminiscent of the hooks of the Titan TV man of the first version. Also from the arsenal, Rambo the Mutant possessed explosives with yellow-green energy. After 4 episodes, after the full invasion of Astro toilets, it was improved due to the technology of Astro toilets. Laser cannons have been replaced by Astro cannons. On the gloves, you can see something similar to corsets, and on the body and shoulders of Skibidi Rambo, you can see 3 additional protective shields. Now I suggest moving on to Skibidi, a mutant with a saw. He is not famous for being as large as his colleague. As for the equipment, he did not even possess a jetpack, but instead of his right arm, he was endowed with a saw, for which he got his name, and he also possessed sonic headphones. The second time he appeared in the series was already in the 66th episode, taking part in a counteroffensive against a squad of agents. After the police TV attempt to blind the Skibidi mutant with a saw, the mutant put on his glasses. His third appearance took place in episode 71 as a member of the Alpha Hills Lab escape squad. At that time, it had already been modified. The mutant with a saw got a larger body, and now the left hand of Skibidi the mutant, in addition to the saw, is armed with a laser installation. In addition, he also had katanas in his arsenal, which he never used during the entire series. The fourth appearance of this mutant occurred in episode 77. Due to the technology of Astro toilets, it has been quite seriously improved. Skibidi Mutant with a saw got a new Astro slap. The handheld laser was replaced by an Astro cannon. He also got a new weapon, the Astro sword, which is prone to returning to its owner. It is worth noting that the mutant still has 2 samurai katanas, only endowed with Astro energy. Let's move on to the third Skibidi mutant from G Squad, SWAT mutant. It was first shown in episode 72. Of all the Skibidi mutants of the first version, it was the most armed and equipped. 4 retractable hull missile launchers, SWAT shield not susceptible to lasers, SWAT helmet. Its main weapon was a scythe. On the left hand, you can see something similar to a hand crossbow. It is worth noting that unlike other representatives of the mutant Skibidi, it has a toilet-shaped body and is famous for its resilience and protection. The mutant SWAT was able to withstand a direct hit of 10 laser shots, the camera of the Strider of the second version, although it was seriously damaged. In 72, he was on the verge of death, and if he hadn't been protected by G-Man, then our cameraman would have already killed the mutant's matchmaker. An improved version of it was shown in episode 77. On his toilet case, 4 additional protective shields were added, a new helmet with insertable goggles made of the same material as the Astro weapon. Due to the technology of Astro toilets, second Astro scythes were created for him, which, like Skibidi's sword of a mutant with a saw, return to the owner and can be used as boomerangs. In the same 77th episode, when the SWAT mutant flies to the next Astro toilet, he has an old photo that reads, 1986 Alpha Hills Special Defense Service of Government Facilities, abbreviated by AHSD. Also in the photo, you can see 6 representations of the SLOOP squad and the SWAT mutant himself, but in human form. But the most interesting thing is that we can see the secret agent, and the photo was taken on the territory of the Alpha Hills Laboratory. laboratory. From this photo, we learn a lot about the past of the SWAT mutant. Before he was reborn into Skibidi form, he was an ordinary person working in the sloop department. He guarded the Alpha Hills laboratory, which had belonged to the secret agent for 7 years. But even he, a representative of the Special Defense Service, knows nothing about the owner of the Alpha Hills. That is, originally, he was an ordinary person. After that, he is reborn into Skibidi form, and under some circumstances unknown to us so far, he gains improvements, becoming a SWAT mutant. Let's move on to the first representative of female Skibidi mutants. Skibidi Woman Mutant. She appeared in episodes 75 and 77. Mutant Woman became the leader of one of the first technological pirate squads, and at the same time became one of the first Skibidi toilets to unite with representatives of the Alliance. Its body was based on a classic toilet with 3 rectangular protective plates. She is equipped with a jetpack and 4 claws. It is worth noting that instead of Skibidi's left hand, the mutant woman has a laser cannon. After destroying the Astro Logan in episode 75, she stole his Astro Laser, which in the future the Skibidi Kleiner will be able to recreate new Astro upgrades for the G-Squad members. It is worth noting that all 3 of the main mutants of the G-Squad, until the 77th episode, could not speak, and they spoke fully only after receiving new improvements. Each of these 5 mutants I mentioned earlier has its own peculiarity in terms of characteristics. Rambo mutant has great physical strength. The Skibidi mutant with a saw is quite fast and agile. The SWAT mutant is famous for its durability. The Skibidi mutant woman can stand out for his tactical and combat intelligence, and the Merlin mutant woman was appointed responsible for negotiations with representatives, the head of the faction chamber. I also want to talk about the secondary Skibidi mutants. Let's start with the experimental Skibidi of the mutants from episode 69. They are slightly taller than the usual cameramen. They are not susceptible to a paralyzing weapon, as the basis of their hull was completely taken the structure of an ordinary chamberman. These Skibidi mutants have an ordinary white toilet, and it does not pose a particular threat, but he can kill an unarmed chamberman. Ordinary Skibidi soldiers are mutants shown in episodes 76 and 77, which are also based on the structure of the regular chambermen. The elite soldiers are mutants from episode 72. Each of them has 2 saws instead of both hands, and some elite soldiers have rocket packs. But you didn't notice anything in common between the Rambo mutant, the Saw mutant, and the SWAT mutant, besides the fact that they are all Skibidi mutants. If you pay attention, this trio seems to have been endowed with the energy of a yellow core. In episode 77, during a dialogue with Heavy Cameraman of 77, their eyes shone bright gold. Doesn't this remind you of anyone? In addition to mutants, only the secret agent showed us the shine of the eyes under a certain condition. If you delve deeper into the question of the intersection of mutants with the secret agent, you can see that in the 73rd episode of Rambo, the mutant used a bomb with green energy, which manifested itself only in the secret agent. And in addition, do not forget that the SWAT mutant was a member of SLOOP and was assigned to guard the Alpha Hills laboratory, owned by a secret agent. But did the mutant Skibidi personally interact with the secret agent? Of course not. And to explain my thought, I want to recall the moment when the G-Man under disguise approached the Astro Juggernaut. Back then, G-Toilet demonstrated a new ability, disguise. Before him, no one from Skibidi Toilets, not from the agents, did not show this ability, and then abruptly, immediately after the full-scale invasion of the Astro Toilets, G-Man learned to become invisible, and this technology seems to be unfinished, because the disguise was turned off several times for a split second. But G-Toilet was not the first to show us this ability. The first to show us this ability was a secret agent. I also want to remember that against the Titans, G-Mon used yellow-green energy, which turned off the Titans for a split second. Moreover, he did not use these abilities until the death of Skibidi the scientist. My theory is that after the murder of Skibidi the scientist, the secret agent focused on G-Mon, a brilliant tactician and a former commander of the Astro Empire. Contacting him, he convinced G-Mon of the need to reconcile the Skibidi Toilets and the Alliance by providing him with his technology. As a result, the secret agent helped G-Toilet unleash the full potential of yellow energy, perhaps even combining it with his green energy. After that, G-Toilet shared this energy with the trio of mutants. But for what? G-Man wouldn't give out the secret agent's energy just like that. The yellow energy transfer was clearly discussed personally with the secret agent, to which he agreed. Previously, we were shown that the secret agent recruits ordinary agents, as it was shown in the distant 47th episode. So why can't he also recruit Skibidi mutants for an upcoming mission, as he did with the twins between episodes 67 and 70? As a result, for the entire series, we were shown 8 Skibidi mutants: an experimental mutant, an ordinary mutant soldier, an elite mutant soldier, the very first one, a parasitic mutant, a Rambo mutant, a mutant with a saw, a mutant SWAT, and a mutant woman. And if the first 3 mutants do not stand out in anything special, then the parasitic mutant is special in that it was previously a remade parasite, which was created by Skibidi by a scientist in order to infect the Speaker Man Titan. The Rambo mutant has great physical strength. The mutant with a saw is famous for its agility and speed, and most importantly for its hand saw with a laser in front of the shoulder. The mutant SWAT boasts of its resilience and protection. The mutant woman brags about its combat tactics. That's all. Thanks to everyone who watched this video to the end. Don't forget to like this video. Good luck to everyone. Bye.